Hi everybody, my name is Danielle Nicole and welcome to Monetary Makeup. So in today's video, I know the Sephora VIB sale is going on. Of course, it is all the rage on YouTube. And full disclosure, you guys, I went through and did this entire video. I edited it, it was ready to go, and unfortunately the entire video had an error that I could not correct. So that's just the reality. Sometimes these things happen, so what are you gonna do? So what I would like to do today is redo that video and just quickly go through some of my favorite products for oily, dehydrated skin. A lot of you guys who follow me know that I'm in my 30s. I have oily, dehydrated skin, texture, redness, so the products that I recommend, they are tried and true and favorites that I really stand behind. So these recommendations are not just going to be the newest, latest, and greatest. They are going to be products that I have used over and over that I definitely recommend for my die-hard favorite products from Sephora. Now, typically I do a topic of the day regarding finances or insurance, but because this video is going to be a long one, I'm just going to do my Sephora favorites. And just a little disclosure, I have some kids playing in the background, so if you guys hear any giggles or any noises, that is what it's coming from. You guys, how am I going to get through this video when you guys are laughing so hard? So first, let's get started with foundation. Now, I know I mention all the time I have oily, dehydrated skin, but if anyone else who watches this video also has oily, dehydrated skin, you can understand the struggle, I'm sure, because you can't wear fully matte foundations because they emphasize your dehydrated skin. But you also can't wear completely luminous foundations because once your oils start to come through, then you just look like a complete grease ball. So when I say I have tried hundreds of foundations, I am not exaggerating at all. So I have two foundations for you that I highly recommend for oily, dehydrated skin that I cannot live without. So what are they? So the first recommendation I have for you is the Tarte Hydroflex C Foundation. Now I use the shade 14B, which is fair light, and it is almost a dead-on match. Why is this foundation special? So when I first saw this foundation, I actually thought it was going to perform more of like a skin tint and be extremely light coverage, but it is not. I would say you can build it up to a true medium coverage, and I would say it does lean on the matte side, but it is more of a satin matte. So it's not dewy and it's not fully matte. This is one of the most natural looking foundations I have ever tried, and I actually bought two backups. So you guys know if I buy backups, that's how much I love a product. Now I did mention that I already reviewed this, so I will link that video right up here for you guys. But just know, as of now, this is one of my absolute favorite foundations that I cannot imagine living without. Now the next foundation recommendation I have for you if you have oily, dehydrated skin is the Milk Sunshine SPF Skin Tint. Now this was another foundation that I tried that really shocked me. Once again, I was expecting this foundation to be extremely light coverage, but I would say it's more light to medium coverage, and it does leave a luminous, dewy finish. Now, I would say if you have oily, dehydrated skin and you're looking for a foundation that really looks flawless and beautiful while you are more dehydrated, then I would go with this foundation over the Tarte one. As I mentioned, the Tarte Hydroflex, it's not a true matte, but it does lean a little bit more matte, where this foundation is much more luminous and dewy. But of course, you can always set with powder if you like to control the dew a little bit more. But this foundation is absolutely beautiful. If you are over 30 and you have texture, even acne, I found that this foundation did not emphasize any of that texture. So once again, it really surprised me, and this is the second favorite foundation I have in my entire collection from Sephora. Now, for any of you who started following my channel when I first started, I actually didn't wear a ton of concealer, and I really think that's because I have oily dehydrated skin. So most concealers were either too heavy, too cakey, too light. They emphasized my texture. So I ended up trying probably 10 to 15 different concealers from Sephora, and I kid you not, this Kosas Revealer Concealer, there is voodoo magic in this concealer, especially for under the eyes. If you are looking for, I would say, a light to medium coverage concealer that once again does not emphasize texture, and this concealer did not crease on me. I reviewed this concealer against a new creamy Shape Tape, so I will link that video up here for you guys if you're curious to see how it looked like at the end of the day. But just know this is the only concealer I have in my collection. Not just from Sephora, but this is the only concealer I have in total that I actually like and now wear on a daily basis. And as I mentioned, it did not crease on me, which is pretty rare considering I have texture and fine lines under my eyes. Now, in case you are a shade twinsy, the shade I have here is shade 0.5. Now, I know when I first reviewed this concealer, I used the shade 1.5, which is cool. And the 1.5 did work if you're looking for a more natural finish that blends into someone's undertone like mine, fair to light with a cool undertone. So that worked great for blending in. But if you're looking for a shade that really brightens up the under eyes, then I would recommend shade 0.5 Neutral to really give that brightening effect. So once again, because I have oily dehydrated skin, I have tried so many different powders, and I used to actually never wear powder because they just emphasize my texture and my acne so bad. So out of all of these Sephora powders, this one is easy. So the powder I recommend for you is from Huda Beauty, which is the Loose Bake Setting Powder. And I use the shade Cupcake, which has more of a pink undertone. And I would say this is a perfect match for me. So once again, if you're similar to my shade and undertone, so it's not extremely pink. So it's not like when you put it on, it just looks like there's pink everywhere. But see, another issue I used to find with powder is that if it leans too yellow or too white, it just didn't jive with my cool undertone. So this Huda powder in the shade Cupcake, it's just absolutely beautiful. It leaves a flawless finish and does not emphasize my texture. Now for now, I am actually going to skip brow and eyeshadow products because a lot of my favorites are not actually from Sephora, and there's so many other influencers out there that have a ton of great recommendations for eyeshadow and brow products. So just know I'm going to be having a video coming up very soon with some of my favorites. Next, let's move on to bronzer and contour. Now you guys might as well grab a snack and a drink because bronzers and contours are some of my favorite makeup items to apply. And because I have a fair to light cool undertone with oily dehydrated skin, acne texture, fine lines, all of that, once again, I'm extremely picky, but I have found some amazing bronzers and contours to recommend for you guys. So the first recommendation I have for you guys, for some reason this product is not talked about that much on YouTube, but it is from Gucci Westman. Her brand is called Westman Atelier, and the shade that I use is called Biscuit, and this product is called the Face Trace Contour Stick. So it's magnetized, it's extremely luxurious, but if you are fair and you have a cool undertone, you probably can understand the struggle to find a true, almost grayish leaning contour stick. And this Biscuit Stick is the perfect shade. It does not lean too gray, it's not too warm. It is really just the perfect texture, shade, undertone, and the formula is absolutely beautiful. So let me just swatch this shade for you guys real quick so that way you can see. So as you can see, it's pretty light, however it is buildable, and if you're not in the mood to do both bronzer and contour, You literally can just swipe this under your cheekbone, all over your forehead, on your nose, blend it in with a brush and a sponge, and this lasts all day. So I highly recommend this Westman Atelier Contour Stick in the shade Biscuit. Now the next recommendation I have for you, they actually have shades for both bronzers and contour, and this is kind of like an original product. It's been around for years. So this is the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzers, and the shades that I use are Amber and Butter Biscuit. So the one I have in front of me is the shade Amber. So if you are looking for a true gray undertone that can really mimic the effect that a shadow gives naturally, this is such a beautiful shade. And this shade is extremely buildable. So if you have a deeper complexion than mine, I wouldn't say to go as far as deep, but up to probably a tan. This shade would probably work beautifully on you as well if you have a cool undertone. So this formula from Fenty, you guys, it's just the best. I cannot imagine having my collection without the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzers, as well as the blushes, which I'll get to in a minute. But as you can see, so this is a swatch right here. It is much more gray in undertone compared to the Westman Atelier. So once again, looking for a true shadow color, as well as a beautiful formula that lasts all day. The Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Bronzers in Amber, and also Butter Biscuit for a bronzer, which leans much more neutral than cool like Amber. Highly recommend those two. Now the next recommendation I have for you, I don't actually have in my hands anymore, sadly, and that is the Danessa Myricks Balm Contour. Now I picked up the shade Light 01, of course, because I'm fair and light, and that formula is absolutely beautiful. I would say it's one of my more favorite formulas for a cream bronzer or a cream contour. The only disappointment I had with Danessa Myricks is that shade Light 01, and I even looked at some of the other shades that I didn't order. They run extremely olive or extremely yellow. So if you don't have a cool undertone like me and you have an olive complexion, I also know it can be difficult with that undertone to find great bronzers and contours. So if you have an olive undertone, I highly recommend the Danessa Myricks Balm Contours. However, I do have an alternative that is basically a spot on a dupe for the Danessa Myricks Balm Contours. And I know this is a Sephora video, but I just wanted to mention it. So this is from the brand Half Caked, and these are only $10. Now this is the shade Coolness, and I'll swatch it for you guys. The formulas are almost identical. The Half Caked ones are just a little bit more stiff, so when you go in, they're a little bit more stiff. But I'm telling you what, I'm going to do a separate video one day on these. These half-caked bronzers, they are almost waterproof. They do not budge. So if you are looking for a waterproof cream bronzer or contour, these half-caked are also great. And I do love the Danessa Myricks ones. They just run too olive for my complexion. So as you can see with the shade Coolness, it is a true cool undertone. And also the shade Morning View, that one is much more neutral, similar to the Fenty in the shade Butter Biscuit. However, Butter Biscuit runs just a little bit more warm in comparison to Morning View. So if you have a cooler undertone, Coolness and Morning View from this Half Cake brand could be a great alternative. So you guys can tell I love cream bronzers and contours. I just think they are such an amazing formula for someone who is not 20 years old anymore. So another recommendation I have for you is from Tower 28, and I did actually order the lightest shade. I believe that's called Suncoast. Believe it or not, that Suncoast shade is too light for me. I was actually shocked when I first put it on. It's almost a highlighter shade, but this one is in the shade West Coast. It's not particularly cool tone, but the formula is so beautiful, and because it has a luminous finish, I can definitely get away with the shade West Coast. I just have to go in with a lighter hand. So as you can see, it's a little bit more gold, almost has a tiny bit of red in it, but it's more gold. So if you're looking for a luminous bronzer, this is a great option. Okay, the last recommendation I have for you for bronzer contour is actually a duo that I just reviewed from Tarte. Ooh, wow, this really shines. Sorry about that, you guys. So I picked up the Tarte. It is called the Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo, and I picked up the shade She's Statuesque. I did actually just review this product, so I will link that right up here for you guys as well. So what's great about this is it comes with a cream contour shade as well as a powder bronzer. Now, I had a lot of reservations about the shades, the undertones, as well as the formula, but definitely check that video out to find out my thoughts. But overall, absolutely love this. If you're looking for a more natural bronzer contour duo, then Tarte is definitely where it's at. Okay, so the last bronzer I have for you guys is my favorite for a one and done monochromatic look. So this item can be used on the eyes, on the lips, on the face for both bronzer and contour, kind of an all-in-one. And that is the Rms Breedy Bronzer. I don't understand why more people don't talk about this product. I think it's because it has a red undertone. So because warm tones are more popular than cool and fair undertones, perhaps that's why. But this is such a thin formula. And I'm telling you what, if I'm in a hurry and I am looking for a one and done product to use all over the face, this Rms Breedy Bronzer is hands down my favorite. So if you take a look at the swatch, you can see it has a very red-pink undertone. So why this is so special to me is, one, it doesn't emphasize texture on my oily, dehydrated skin, but also that undertone is just perfection, especially for that naturally sunburnt look, but in the best way possible. So the next product I have for you is a highlighter, and I only actually have one. Yes, out of all the highlighters I have tried, because of my dehydration at times, I find that powders can be particularly difficult to work with because they typically emphasize my maturing textured skin. So the Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balms, I don't understand why this product is not in more people's collection. Now, I did a video with the shade Clear, which I will link right up here showing a dupe for it, but this formula is amazing. Now, it doesn't completely dry down. The Rms Breedy Bronzer does dry down more, and it's not nearly as sticky. So this one does have a little bit of a tack to it. So if I touch it like this, I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit balmy. So when I first tried this, I actually didn't like it because of how I applied it with just dipping it in and applying it to my cheekbones. But I found the trick for this product, and I'm using the shade Hot Water, which is actually my favorite shade. So what I do is I rub it in like this, and I put it on the back of my hand, and then I will kind of dip in lightly and get some of the excess product off, and then apply it to my cheekbones, nose, Cupid's bow, all of the above. But if you're looking for that lit from within naturally beautiful glow that doesn't emphasize texture and also leaves a little bit of a dew, the Danessa Myricks Dew Wet Balms are hands down, could not live without these highlighters in my collection. Now, the next product recommendation I have for you is if you have any sort of redness, eczema, or acne, this product literally changed my life. It completely transformed my skin, and I am not exaggerating at all. So that is the Tower 28 SOS Facial Rescue Spray. Now, I actually heard quite a few people review this when it first came out, and I just forgot about it. So a couple of months ago, I picked this up in addition to the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Putty Primer. And I did a 2-month review of that e.l.f. primer, which I will link up here. But I've been using that e.l.f. primer in combination with this Tower 28 spray. It is actually helping my acne. If you don't suffer from adult acne, I hate when people say this, but you can't understand the struggle and the frustration, because I expected once I was 18 or 20 to outgrow adult acne. I'm just one of those people who is blessed with acne. What are you gonna do? So this Tower 28 spray, I apply it pretty heavily on my face 2 times a day, once in the morning when I get out of the shower, and then in the evening once I wash my face before I put on any sort of moisturizer, any toners. And this Tower 28 spray sincerely has helped control my acne. You guys, I was shocked. I was not expecting this to actually work, because if you have acne, you've probably tried thousands of products like me. This actually makes a huge difference. Oh, one last thing about this spray. So the nozzle, the actual sprayer, is not that good, you guys. So when you spray it, it doesn't come out like, a water hose or anything like that, but it is not the same as a setting spray. So I don't recommend using it as a setting spray at all. But when you first go to spray it, I definitely recommend holding it back a little bit, because the first time I sprayed it, it just stunned me because it was so much. But anyways, I just want to mention the sprayer. Now, the next product I have for you is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Niacinamide Dewdrops. Now, I know I wore this in a video the other day, and I mentioned that I didn't like it because I was expecting it to be more luminous and to almost act as a natural highlighter, and I didn't find that it did that. But once I got past the fact that this product really doesn't act as a highlighter, but more as a great moisturizer, I absolutely changed my mind about this product. I absolutely love it, you guys. I wear this as a moisturizer all the time. And if you have oily dehydrated skin, you know that typically gel products as opposed to oil-based moisturizers work better. At least they do for me. So I highly recommend the Watermelon Niacinamide Dewdrops from Glow Recipe. They are amazing for my skin. Now, the last product that I would like to recommend for you guys, it's not an actual eyeshadow, but it can be used on the eyes, the face, and the lips, and it's incredible. So the product I recommend for that is from Danessa Myricks, and these are the color fixes. These run for, I believe, $18. These last forever. All you need is a tiny little dot. And let me tell you what, if you purchase the matte version, so I have the shade Exposed here. So if I'm looking for just a quick one and done eyeshadow, kind of a monochromatic look, I'll use this for the shadow. I can use it for contour, for my nose, for my cheeks, and I can also use it on my lips. And let me tell you what, if you are looking for a waterproof product that will not budge on oily, dehydrated skin, this is where it is. This color fix is just absolutely bomb. I know that is such a cliche saying, but these are amazing and they last so long. So I have 3 different colors to show you guys. So this is a matte in the shade Exposed, as I just mentioned. Next, I have the shade Romance, which is kind of more of a shimmery pink. And the last shade I have is called Venus, which at first glance, these might look kind of similar, but these are all different textures. So this is almost more of a glitter duochrome shade, I would say. Not a multi-chrome, but there's different colored shimmer in it. So it gives you that kind of really beautiful glittery effect, but without actually applying glitter. And then the Romance shade is a shimmer. And as I mentioned, Exposed is a matte. Now they also have a glaze version, which I have not tried. I'm sure it's absolutely amazing, but as a working busy mom, I just can't apply that on my eyes and have it crease. But if you're looking for any of these products for the eyes and face, kind of a one and done, highly recommend. So I know a lot of these products are not necessarily new, but as I mentioned, if you have oily dehydrated skin, I sincerely understand the struggle it is to find great products. And unfortunately, I mean, I could list off 100 different products, but these are really my go-to items from Sephora that I could not imagine living without. Definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be having some other videos for skincare, more affordable options, just a ton of different things. So if you have any questions, definitely comment monetary makeup down below. Let me know. Have you guys tried these products out? Do you like them? Are you excited to try them? Are you going to be ordering any of them? Definitely let me know all of your thoughts down below. Well, I hope these recommendations for oily dehydrated skin were helpful for you guys. If it was, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.